Welcome creative friends, Edna Eady here from the Creativity Activist. Today I'm bringing you a project share of the little things I put together so that I could send them off to Alicia at Love Letter Generation as part of her Pretty in Pink challenge. So there were some requirements for the challenge. I really wanted to challenge myself to use a paper pack that I didn't really have accessories or embellishments to go with. And Alicia recently influenced me to buy this Green Garden paper pad from Spotlight. So I started with that, and then I challenged myself to use some of the dies that I hauled when I was overseas recently. So one of the requirements was for a sequin or confetti mix. So I've put a mix together here, which I've called a Hello Mix, because one of the things I purchased when I was overseas were some confetti dies from the stamp market. So these are hi, hello and little flowers, and then they die cut out and you make your own confetti mix. So I thought that was fun. So lots of pinks. I've added some neutrals in the gold and the greys. So little hellos and highs and lots of flowers. It's a labour of love to cut them out, let me tell you, but I did thoroughly enjoy that. And then I've put together a little bag topper there to go on top of the bag with a little cowboy boot in pink and gold, especially for Alicia. So that's the confetti mix that I've put together. And then I'm just going to move that to the side so that I don't spill it everywhere. And then here are the other embellishments. So one of the requirements was a shaker embellishment. So I've put together this shaker tag. I also bought this when I was in America. It's a pink and main shaker tag die. So I put that together using the papers from the collection, and I've used a little of the Hi Hello sequin mix in the background, and this die here is also from the stamp market. So I've kept that relatively simple so that the sequin mix can shine, but I do love this tag with the ability to very simply bring together a shaker. And then on the top, I've just threaded little beads onto the ribbon as a little embellishment. So that's the shaker, and I have made a series of bags. So this is going to be a double bag together, but yeah, I've made the little toppers for that. And this here is leftovers. I'll talk about that in a moment. So this is my version of a library pocket. I wanted to use this new die that I got also from the stamp market, which is nested ovals with lots of detail on the edge, including stitching. So I've cut that out, and then I've made a little library-esque pocket out of that so that this pocket fits in the larger pocket there. So I've cut the die in pink card, and I did that 3 times, one for the front and one for the back, and then I've had hand cut the oval to go in the middle. So this is not double-sided paper because I didn't think the back of this paper suited the make, so I've used 2 pieces of paper back to back and sandwiched them inside the die cuts, and then I've cut off just below the halfway line on a separate cut, and I've put different paper on the inside, and I've secured it flat at the bottom, and I've raised it just a little bit on the side so that when I did the same technique of using the oval between the papers, I can slot that in there like it's a library card. And I've used one of the little butterflies on the top. So I love these butterflies. They're going to get a lot of use in my space. So that's my version of a library card. Hope Alicia doesn't mind that I went rogue on the style. And then that's the little topper there. So this little bow here is from the Recollections bow set that I bought when I also was overseas, which is what this little packet here was for. So I really love that. I'm going to get lots of use out of that, I can already tell. And then I just stacked up a couple of those. But these handles here when I had the waste from only using this part, I've used what was remaining to make the handles for my bags. So this bag here has that one little handle. And then you needed to make 2 sets of embellishments. So I've made some rosettes. I didn't make the rosettes, I had them in my stash. And then I've stacked them up with these Uniquely Creative doilies, the little ones. And then these boots, I had a bit of a session making these boots out of my friend Kathy's dye. So I've made them in pink and gold, little cowboy theme. And these florals off to the side, and then little details in the butterfly gems, and then the Rosie's Studio words. So 2 of those, and then the bag topper for that I used up in size, the 2 next up in size in the oval, and another of the bows from that particular range. And then the other set of 2 embellishments, there's the bag there with the bigger bow on it, were these butterflies, also from the stamp market. Absolutely love these. So you get the 2 pieces of the butterfly and the center, and then you get different florals to build up on the side, or you can use little confetti flowers. So I've kept these relatively simple because I wanted the butterflies to shine. Absolutely love this butterfly. I can't wait to use it in all sorts of different ways. So that concludes my makes for the Pretty in Pink challenge. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Really did enjoy using gold, especially for Alicia. So this is going on my way over to her so that she can enjoy it. And yeah, on to the next project. Maybe a bit more pink and gold. Hope you enjoyed having a look at my makes for this challenge. Have a good day. Enjoy.